My name is Michael Hartley. I'm 55, father of two girls, and a man who spent far too long excusing the unforgivable. For years, I thought my biggest regret was not cheating back. It's a strange thing to admit, especially for someone like me. I've always believed in commitment. I like being with one person. I like the stability. But when your wife cheats on you for nearly a decade, and you stay, your mind starts playing tricks on what regret even means. The cheating started just before we got married. I didn't know it then. She was working long shifts, always tired, always needing space. A coworker of hers, a woman I'd never met, emailed me anonymously. Said she'd seen things, heard things. I showed my wife. She cried, swore it was lies, said the woman had always been jealous of her. I believed her. I was in love, or maybe just too proud to admit I wasn't. She kept cheating when she went back to work after our first daughter was born. She had names saved in her phone under coworkers and calendar codes that never added up. The signs were there, but I didn't want to see them. I wanted my daughters to grow up in a full home. I convinced myself that was more important than my dignity. But the truth is, the real regret didn't hit me until much later. When I finally left, after she'd spent 6 years accusing me of cheating, of lying, of every sin she herself committed, and I looked at my daughters' faces, I realized something gutting. The regret wasn't that I didn't cheat. The regret was that I didn't leave. If you've ever stayed too long in a toxic place thinking love, duty, or hope would fix it, this story is yours. Like, share, and leave a comment if you've lived it. Shout out to Ken_Mason1948 for your powerful message last week. Drop your name below for a chance to be mentioned in the next story. Subscribe, because this one's just getting started. They say abuse doesn't always show up with bruises. Sometimes it shows up in gaslight silence, in the way you start second-guessing your own instincts, in the way someone you love looks you dead in the eyes and makes you doubt what you saw, what you heard, what you know. My wife had a pattern. She'd cheat, then accuse me. Not gently, violently. If I came home a little late from work, she'd grill me, ask who I was texting, where I really was. If I glanced at my phone during dinner, she'd call me a liar. She went through my emails, twisted phone records out of context, threw things. But I never cheated. Not once. I had plenty of chances, co-workers, women I met through mutual friends. Kind, beautiful, emotionally healthy women who picked up on the sadness I wore like a second skin. But I didn't take the bait. I told myself it was because I was loyal, because I believed in vows, because I didn't want to hurt my daughters. But the truth is, I was afraid. Afraid that if I left, the girls would grow up confused. Afraid she'd poison them against me. Afraid I'd lose everything and she'd walk away clean, because she always had a way of flipping the script. So I stayed. 8 years of covering for her lies. 6 years of defending myself against things I never did. Nights of tiptoeing through my own home like I was the one who needed forgiveness. I used to lay awake and wonder, what if I had cheated? Would it have given me the courage to leave? Would it have justified my pain? But that's not who I was. I wasn't looking for revenge. I was looking for peace. And all I found was exhaustion. I didn't just give her my loyalty. I gave her years I'll never get back. Years where I could have been healing instead of hiding, loving instead of proving. And by the time I finally walked away, I wasn't leaving a marriage anymore. I was leaving a war I never signed up for. It wasn't one big fight that broke me. No grand betrayal or final straw. Just one night, in the middle of a school week, when my youngest daughter came into my room, eyes puffy, voice small, and said, "Mom says you don't love us anymore because you stay late to see other ladies." That was it. Not the affair. Not the yelling. Not the cracked phone she'd thrown across the kitchen or the months of silent punishment for things I never did. It was hearing my child repeat her mother's poison. I'd taken her abuse for years, but I wouldn't let it seep into my daughters. The next morning, I packed a small bag, took both girls to school, then went to speak with a lawyer. I didn't announce anything. I didn't scream. I started documenting, gathering texts, screenshots, witnesses. I filed for temporary custody 2 weeks later. My wife didn't expect that. She always thought I'd stay, thought the guilt she laid on me was stronger than the truth I'd buried. But I wasn't guilty. I was tired. And once the courts saw the evidence, the instability, the gaslighting, the affair history, the projected accusations, I was awarded primary custody. She spiraled, of course, claimed I brainwashed the girls, told people I was controlling, cold, that I was only pretending to be the calm one. But by then, people had stopped believing her, especially my daughters. They saw who stayed steady, who kept them safe, who didn't scream or accuse or disappear for nights. That year, for the first time, they told me they felt safe. And that word, safe, meant more than love ever did. Because when you've lived inside someone else's chaos long enough, safety isn't just freedom. It's survival. People often ask if I ever really confronted her, about the cheating, the gaslighting, the years she stole from me. And the answer is no. I didn't need to. You don't confront a storm. You outlast it. And then you walk away when the sky clears. The truth about her affairs had already started leaking after I left. A few of her coworkers came forward. One even apologized for not telling me sooner. But it didn't matter. I wasn't trying to win a courtroom drama or embarrass her. I wasn't trying to prove I was the better person. I was just trying to rebuild what she couldn't destroy, my daughter's sense of stability. We moved into a modest 3-bedroom place. I kept the walls warm, the fridge full, and the mornings quiet. No yelling, no blame, just life, as it should have been all along. The girls stopped flinching at slammed doors. They stopped asking if I was mad when I was quiet. They stopped apologizing for things they didn't do. And that was the revenge. Not in her losing custody. Not in her falling apart socially when her mask slipped. The real revenge was in how peace returned, slowly, silently, steadily, without needing her permission. Sometimes I'd see her during drop-offs or school events. She'd try to spark an argument, make a scene. I wouldn't bite. I'd just smile, take my daughter's hands, and walk away. Because walking away without needing to shout, accuse, or defend is the loudest thing a man like me can do. She used to say I was weak for not fighting back. But strength isn't measured by how loud you yell. It's measured by how well you protect what matters most, even after someone tried to break you from the inside out. And I'd finally done that. For me, for my girls, for the man I had to become when the lies ran out of air. I look back now and wonder how many nights I wasted waiting for someone to change who never intended to. How many mornings I silenced my instincts just to keep the peace in a house that didn't have any left. How many years my daughters watched a version of love that didn't look anything like love at all. I thought staying was strength. But strength would have been leaving the first time she came home smelling like someone else's cologne. Strength would have been trusting my gut instead of her stories. Strength would have been realizing that forgiveness means nothing when it's weaponized against you. People think regret is about one moment, one decision. But real regret is quieter. It's years you don't get back, smiles you didn't see, confidence you had to rebuild from rubble. It's watching your daughters learn to relax again and realizing how long they were holding their breath. I should have left sooner, not just for me, but for them. They're teenagers now. They talk to me, really talk. They've told me things about those early years that make my stomach twist. But they're also healing, slowly, steadily. And I'm proud of them every single day. And I'm proud of myself too. Because I finally did what needed to be done. I walked away from a house built on lies and gave my girls a home that breathes. If you've ever stayed too long for the wrong reasons, if you've endured silence, shame, or steady gaslighting, this story is for you. Like, comment, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that leaving isn't failure. Sometimes it's the first step toward freedom. Subscribe for more true feeling stories that tell what strength really looks like. Quiet, calm, and clear-eyed. Thank you for listening.